The name of the OVC goes back to the early 1950s when the old Union Castle liners from the United Kingdom used to round the tip of Africa, heading on down to Australia, New Zealand, picking up post, picking up cargo, picking up passengers. And of course, in those days, the main mode of transport was, of course, by ship. And so many young travellers from the Commonwealth countries would head off to the United Kingdom, specifically to work. And that's where the OVC came about. They would congregate in London, a place called Earl's Court, where a fantastic base was set up for young travellers, where they would collect their posts, they would organise their travels, they would socialise. Apparently, in those days, there was a fantastic pub at the OVC. And 65 years later, we're here today in South Africa. We've got offices scattered all around the country. And we're the oldest and the biggest youth travel company in South Africa. Our job is to get out to universities, secondary education centres, to make sure that young people of South Africa know what travel opportunities await them. Really important that our staff are there to absolutely give them first-hand information of what they can actually achieve by traveling overseas. As far as I'm concerned, I feel that travel is an education and should be treated as an education on its own. I love to promote the fact that the most important part of our company are our staff, because you can walk into any OVC office, you can stand behind the counter and you can look into the eyes of someone that can confidently say, I've been there, I've done that, I've bought the t-shirt, and I can honestly tell you that this is going to be a fantastic experience, or I don't really feel that this is a good opportunity for you. I believe that traveling and working abroad in a foreign country is one of the most valuable experiences a young person can ever get, and should be seen as an education, because it offers them incredible life experience and, of course, skills that they will get in no other field. How often I've seen young people come into our office and they stand there in front of our consultants saying, should I be going overseas? Am I experienced enough to do this? And I think it's incredible, and one of the most fantastic things in our job is to actually send a person overseas and then meet them years later and have them thank us for the experience that they've gained. I think that, to me, is one of the most rewarding parts of my job. All of the travellers that go through our organisation have one thing in common. They all believe that the experience that they had overseas was absolutely life-changing, and every single one of them always say to us, in hindsight, it's something that they never would regret doing. Should you travel prior to your tertiary education? Is it better to travel straight after school? It's a formula that no one can obviously put to any one particular person. Every person is different. I take, for example, myself. I feel the opportunities that I took by going overseas as soon as I finished school were absolutely essential to what I am today. I didn't know what I wanted to do when I finished school, and I made the decision to go overseas because I felt that I needed an opportunity to see what was out there. And so often it presents young people with a break, with the opportunity to get a little bit of maturity behind them, and they come back to South Africa, just as I did, with a vision and a clearer vision of what they want to do. Saying that, there's the other side of the coin, where I know so many young people who are dead set on what they want to achieve finishing school. They know what they want to study, and I think it's great. Wait, finish your studies, and then go and travel. And I think the asset to traveling at a later stage with a degree behind your name is that there are so many more options available in terms of work when it comes to traveling after your tertiary education. Many of the programs that we've currently got are actually aimed specifically at current students, students who want to, at the end of their year or at the end of their studies, take a break. For example, this year we've had a stack of youngsters wanting to go off to the United States to work in hotels and ski resorts, and we offer incredible programs for them to basically, at the end of the year, take that break for 2 months or 3 months and go and work, travel, and to come back to South Africa. And what a lot of people don't actually realize is what an asset it is to have that on their CV. They get back to South Africa having worked at a Marriott hotel or a Hilton hotel or at one of the fantastic ski resorts that we offer. And with that, it really is a fantastic jumpstart to their careers. Another program that has become incredibly popular is the opportunity to actually study full-time overseas. And I think there's this misunderstanding perhaps in the South African community that, gee whiz, studying overseas is so out of our league, it's so expensive, there's no ways that I'd be able to afford it. But an aspect which a lot of people don't think about is the fact that in South Africa, while studying, it's very difficult for a student to actually acquire work, part-time work. And I think, you know, when the programs that we have where youngsters go to New Zealand, they go to Ireland, to England, we have the opportunity there for the education centres to help our students find work, and with them, so many of them are able to subsidise their stay and subsidise their studies whilst they're overseas, which helps them clearly in terms of completing their studies, and also whilst they're over there, they get the opportunity to work and travel and get experience. I honestly believe that travel and working abroad is one of the best forms of education that a young person can get. It offers the opportunity to open one's mind to acceptance of other cultures, opinions, foods, religions. It also allows the opportunity for a person to mature prior to making important life decisions. And I think most of all, it makes people respect who they are and where they come from. When one thinks about travel, different emotions and different things come to mind. Some people think about the fantastic holidays and cultures and meeting new people. Other people are a bit more pessimistic and they think about the terrible credit card debt that they're going to rack up. I think what we like to think about and how we like to evoke the emotions in people with regards to travel is that we want the holiday and the travel experience to work for you. We want to make sure that you're able to find the opportunity to go overseas by working whilst abroad, because your holiday can actually work for you. Many people refer to what we do as gap years. I'm all for taking a gap year, but personally I prefer the word productive years. The OVC has mastered the art of productive time abroad. And you know, whether it be taking a working holiday or otherwise studying abroad or otherwise traveling, I think the most important thing for us is to make sure that the opportunities that we put ahead or in front of young people are genuine and they are productive, so that they can come back to South Africa and bring those skills and whatever they've learned in those experiences and obviously benefit our country with them. We're definitely in the business of providing peace of mind from start to finish, enriching people's lives and building confidence and gaining clarity on paths that young people have not yet chosen. As a travel company, it is absolutely essential that we offer every service possible. And apart from the work travel opportunities, which are our core business, the peripherals that go with it, such as the airfares, the travel insurance, the foreign exchange, and I think the most important thing is advice. You know, young people depend upon genuine, true advice. They want to know, wow, this is the biggest experience of their life. It's a huge expense, and they want to be in a situation where they know where they're going and what's going to happen. My experience of travel is definitely not unique. Finishing school, not knowing what to do with myself. My mum and dad were saying to me, you've got to do this, and I said to myself, well, I'm not 100% sure if I really fit into that category. And lucky enough, my dad said to me, well, you can have some money to go overseas, and he offered me 1,000 Rand for an airfare. Tells my age a little bit. And I went overseas to the United Kingdom. I worked in pubs, I worked on farms. I think the most important thing about working and traveling overseas is one's attitude. And my expectations were zero. My mind was wide open, and I think that's why I really enjoyed myself. And that's something that we try to encourage young people to do when they travel, is to go with an open mind, to do as the Romans do in Rome. Because if you go there, if you go overseas with expectations, it really hardly ever works out how you expect it to work out. The greatest achievement for me at the age of 19 or 20 as it was the fact that I didn't phone home. I didn't phone home for help. And I think that is the biggest growing lesson that so many young people experience when I talk to them and say, you know, what's the proudest moment that you had overseas? And, you know, sometimes quite ironically, they turn around and they say, it was the fact that I didn't have to ask my parents for help. I did it on my own. And that is a huge stepping stone for young people. And it's something that can't be purchased. It can't be, it has to be experienced, because pride is a growth on its own. And from Europe, and I ended up in Israel working on a kibbutz for a couple of months, and I met a young lady that I followed down to through Thailand. We stayed in Thailand for a couple of months, and then down into Australia, and traveled through New Zealand. And coming back to South Africa, wow, it was absolutely fantastic, because I had the opportunity to just grow up a little bit from my school days, and I knew what I wanted to study. I knew what I wanted to do. And from that perspective, I can only thank travel for being, for directing me on the route that I traveled. I think it's very understandable that mums and dads are so involved in the process of sending their kids overseas, or when their kids do want to go overseas, because it's their prized possession. Their kids are their prized possession, and we understand that. And so often we have mums and dads coming to us and saying, how do I send Johnny more money, or Johnny hasn't phoned me for a week, what do I do, or whatever it might be. And that's what we're there to do. We're there to obviously be a point of contact, to assist parents, to make sure that continually, for the period of anybody that goes through our programs being overseas, that mum and dad and the kids are completely involved in the process. Because, wow, I'm a dad too. I would also be very worried about my child going overseas, and for that reason we take it incredibly seriously. The work opportunities that we have to check them out. We have got to make sure that the partners and the people that we use in the United States, in Thailand, in Australia, New Zealand, wherever we are offering these opportunities, are sound. And we, first of all, obviously have got to make sure that they are accredited with the correct organizations. Secondly, we go and check them out ourselves. We make sure that they are obviously sound, so that young South Africans can be sure that they're getting a genuine opportunity abroad. And so often, we have to be in contact with our partners overseas, and something goes wrong, or there's a problem, or people run out of money, or there's an emergency back home. And we want to make sure that those partners are available at all times to be able to communicate with the students or with the workers overseas, and to be in a situation where they can assist them 100% of the way. Travel allows you the opportunity to look back at yourself and see what you're really made of as a person. And I can absolutely guarantee you that you'll be a better person for the experience that you've had.